The year was 2478. The galaxy was bright, but silent. Hundreds of ships floated around Eos Prime, the shining capital of the Galactic Unity Council, a place built to unite every intelligent species under one banner of peace. But today, peace felt like a lie. Inside the Grand Hall, thousands of beings gathered. Humans, aliens, machines, all stood beneath the silver dome that reached into the clouds. At the center stood a tall human woman, Commander Rhea Danner of Earth's Defense Fleet. Her uniform was perfect, her face calm. But inside her chest, her heart beat like a war drum. A voice echoed through the hall, metallic and deep. High Chancellor Vokar, a reptilian elder from the Threx Dominion. He spoke the words that would change history. From this day forward, he declared, no human shall form emotional or physical bonds with any alien species. Such connections threaten our order, our peace, our control. The crowd whispered, uneasy. Some gasped. Others bowed their heads. Rhea's jaw tightened. Her hand trembled slightly at her side. Because in the crowd, among the sea of faces, she saw him. Kyle, a tall alien from the Vern race with silver eyes and a calm that could silence storms. He stood still, watching her. Their eyes met. For a moment, the hall disappeared. The lights, the noise, the rules, everything. Only Kale remained, and the memory of his voice in her mind. You once said humans love without fear. Was that true, Rhea? Her heart twisted. She looked away. When the Chancellor's voice rose again, his tone was colder. Those who break this law, he said, will face exile. Or death. The sound of the final word echoed like a gunshot through the hall. Outside, the rain fell like shards of glass against the metal streets of Eos Prime. Rhea walked fast, her boots splashing in shallow puddles of light. Around her, hollow screens flashed the same message again and again. Interspecies bonds now illegal. Galactic peace protected. Peace. That word made her sick. She entered a quiet transport bay, where her ship, the Starhawk, waited. The hangar lights flickered. She stopped suddenly, and because someone was there, Kale. He stepped out of the shadows, his cloak soaked, his silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Rhea, he said softly, you shouldn't be here. She turned, scanning the empty bay. You shouldn't either. They'll scan for you. Kyle gave a small, sad smile. They already are. He moved closer, his movements graceful but tired. You heard the decree. They want to control fear by killing connection. Rhea's voice was sharp but low. They think bonds make us weak. They are wrong, Kyle said. Bonds make us stronger. They always have. For a moment neither spoke. The soft hum of the engines filled the silence. Rhea looked at him, at the scars on his hands, at the faint mark that still crossed his cheek, the one she had bandaged years ago during the siege of Lorne Prime. Back then he had saved her life twice. Back then, no one cared who she loved or who she trusted. Now, it was a crime. She took a step closer. They will hunt us if they know. Kale tilted his head. Then we hide. Or we fight. Rhea hesitated. She wanted to say no, that it was too dangerous, but then she remembered how he once carried her through fire when everything had seemed lost. She remembered his hand reaching for hers in the dark. Maybe some things were worth dying for. Before she could answer, a sound broke through the silence. A sharp electronic beep from her wrist communicator. Incoming transmission. The message was brief. No sender, no name. Just words written in red light. They know about you and Kale. Run. Rhea's stomach dropped. Her eyes widened. She looked at Kale. His silver eyes were already scanning the shadows. Then the alarms blared. Security drones activated, red lights flashing through the bay. The voice of the Chancellor thundered through the intercom. Commander Rhea Danner, you are under investigation for violation of Council Code 47B. Surrender immediately. Kyle moved fast, grabbing her arm. No time, he said. We have to go now. The Starhawk's engines roared to life as Rhea sprinted up the ramp. Drones fired plasma shots that hissed through the air, hitting the ship's hull. Metal screamed. Sparks flew. Rhea jumped into the pilot's seat, her fingers flying over the controls. Hang on! The ship blasted out of the bay in a storm of light and sound, leaving the city behind. Eos Prime shrank beneath them, a world of order and silence. Ahead lay darkness and the stars. Kyle leaned against the console, breathing hard. You always said humans never run, he said with a faint smile. Rhea looked at him, her voice steady but her heart racing. "We're not running," she said. "We're starting something they can't stop." Outside the window, the stars stretched into lines as they jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, the Council prepared to hunt them. Ahead of them, a secret that could change the galaxy forever. And in that moment, between fear and fire, between human and alien, a forbidden bond burned brighter than any law could ever silence. The stars rushed past like rivers of light. The Starhawk sliced through hyperspace, leaving behind the laws of the Galactic Council, and everything Rhea once knew. Inside the ship, alarms still blinked red. The hum of the engines filled the silence between two fugitives. Rhea Danner sat in the pilot's seat, her hands tight on the controls. Across from her, Kyle leaned against the console, his breathing slow but shallow. A dark burn mark covered part of his shoulder, a wound from the drone's plasma shot. Rhea turned, her voice tense but steady. "You're hit," Kyle smiled weakly. "I've had worse. Remember Lorne Prime?" Rhea didn't look at him. "That's not funny." He tilted his head. "It wasn't meant to be." The ship's navigation screen flashed, warning, "Pursuit detected." 3 Council interceptors had already locked onto their trajectory. Rhea muttered, "They're faster than I thought." Kyle pushed himself to stand. "Then we go somewhere they won't follow." "Like where?" "Virnos," he said quietly. "My homeworld," Rhea frowned. "You think your people will protect us?" He looked at her, eyes serious now. "No, but there are places there even the Council fears." Before she could reply, the ship jolted. A bright beam of plasma shot across the view screen. "The interceptors were here." "Hold on," Rhea said, gripping the throttle. "We're not going down without a fight." The Starhawk spun sharply, diving through an asteroid belt that shimmered like broken glass. Chunks of rock crashed against the shields as Rhea weaved through the narrow gaps. Kale took the gunner's seat, fingers moving over alien weapon controls. He fired a pulse beam that tore one interceptor apart. "One down," he said calmly. "2 to go," Rhea answered. They moved as one, like they had 1,000 times before on battlefields no one remembered. Every turn, every move matched perfectly. But the last interceptor was smarter. It fired a magnetic net that clamped onto the Starhawk's hull. The ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Systems screamed. "We're losing power." Rhea shouted. Kale's hand pressed against the console. A strange blue glow spread from his skin into the circuits. The ship's light stabilized for a moment, then burst bright white. Rhea looked at him in shock. "What did you just do?" "Something I shouldn't be able to," Kyle said softly. "Our bond. It's changing things." Before she could ask, the ship broke free, speeding out of the asteroid field and into open space. The last interceptor exploded behind them. Silence filled the cabin again. Hours passed. Rhea patched up Kale's wound as the ship floated in stealth mode, hidden among drifting space debris. She worked quietly, wrapping a thin band around his shoulder. He winced but didn't move. "You always did ignore pain," she said quietly, "and you always tried to fix what you couldn't control," Kyle replied, smiling faintly. Rhea looked away. "We can't keep running forever," Kyle nodded. "Then we find the truth," she frowned. "Truth about what?" He hesitated. His voice dropped low. "The Council didn't ban bonds because of love, Rhea. They banned them because they're afraid." "Afraid of what?" Kyle's silver eyes met hers. "Of what happens when humans and aliens truly connect." She didn't answer. But deep inside, she remembered the strange pulse of energy back in the hangar. When she touched him before they escaped, the way the lights had flared without power, something was happening between them, something neither fully understood. Suddenly the radar beeped again. A new signal appeared. Rhea frowned. "That's not a Council frequency." Kyle leaned forward. "It's a message." Repeating, she turned up the sound. A voice came through, soft, distorted. "If you can hear this, go to Virnos. Look for the one called Seren. The truth is waiting." Then the message cut out. Kyle's face went pale. "Seren was part of the Verne Science Council, long before I was born. She disappeared decades ago." Rhea checked the coordinates. "That message wasn't random. Someone knows about us." Kyle nodded slowly. "Or about what we are becoming." Before they could speak more, the sensors flared again. Dozens of red dots. Council ships had found them. Rhea jumped into the pilot's seat. "They tracked our jump." "We have to go now." Kyle gripped her arm. Not just run. We need to know what they're hiding. Serene might be the key. Fine, Rhea said. But if we're doing this, we do it together, he smiled. Always. The Starhawk's engines roared once more, bursting into a streak of light toward Virnos. Behind them, the Council's fleet followed like a storm. As the stars blurred again, Rhea looked out into the endless dark. She thought of Earth, her home now unreachable. She thought of the law of fear turned into control. And she thought of Kyle, the alien who had become her reason to keep fighting. The galaxy was breaking apart one rule at a time, and she was standing right in the middle of it. Kyle's voice broke the silence. Do you ever wonder, he asked, why humans love so fiercely, even when it destroys them? Rhea gave a small, tired smile. Because we're not built to obey, she said. We are built to feel. Outside, lightning danced across the edge of hyperspace, a storm of color and chaos. The chase had begun, and somewhere ahead on a hidden world waited the truth that could change everything. The planet Virnos hung in the dark like a broken jewel. Once a world of silver towers and shining oceans, now it was quiet, its surface covered in gray storms and old ruins. The Starhawk drifted through the thick clouds, lights dimmed. Rhea Danner stared through the cockpit window. This place looks dead, she said. Kyle stood beside her, his silver eyes reflecting the lightning outside. It's not dead, he said softly. It's hiding. They landed in a canyon of dark stone. The wind howled like a living thing. Rhea grabbed her blaster and pulled on her coat. Let's hope your contact is real, she muttered. Kyle smiled faintly. Serene was real once. If she's still alive, she'll be waiting. They walked for hours through old tunnels carved into the cliffs. Symbols glowed faintly on the walls. Ancient Vern writing. Rhea brushed her hand against one. What does this say? Kyle paused. Unity through understanding. It was the old Vern belief, that every species had something unique to give. She sighed. Doesn't sound like what your council believes now. Kyle's face darkened. It doesn't. That's why Serene left them. Finally, they reached a large metal door built into the rock. It looked ancient, half rusted, half alive. Kyle placed his hand on it. The symbols glowed brighter. The door opened with a slow hiss. Inside, warm light spilled out, and a voice spoke. Kyle Vern, the voice said. I knew you'd come. The woman standing inside looked nothing like Rhea expected. Serene was tall, her skin silver blue like Kyle's, but her eyes burned bright white. She wore an old scientist's coat, but energy shimmered faintly around her hands, like she had become part machine, part light. Rhea stepped forward, wary. You sent the message, Serene nodded. Yes, I knew the day would come when the Council's lies would break. Kyle frowned. You knew about the bond law? Serene smiled sadly. I wrote it, Rhea froze. What? Serene turned to her. Long ago, before the Council existed, we began an experiment with Project Unity. It was supposed to study human and alien interaction. Kyle's voice was cold. You mean control it? Serene didn't deny it. At first it was about peace. We found something strange when humans and Vern worked together. Their neural patterns began to sync. Emotions, instincts, even thoughts. It created a kind of shared field, Rhea frowned. Like telepathy? More than that, Serene said. When the bond deepened, it created energy. Real, measurable power. It could heal, protect, or even destroy. Rhea and Kyle exchanged a look. Both remembered the blue glow that had saved the Starhawk. Serene continued, her voice trembling slightly. The Council discovered this power and became afraid. They ordered the research buried, the test subjects erased, but the connection could not be undone. The first human-Vion pair, they vanished together into the stars. And after that day, the Council made the law. Rhea's heart pounded. You're saying they banned bonds because they were scared of what we could do? Serene nodded. Yes, because when two beings truly trust, their minds break limits. No empire can control that. Lightning flashed outside. The old base trembled slightly. Kyle's voice was quiet but sharp. Why tell us this now? Serene looked at him, her white eyes glowing brighter. Because you and this human, you've already triggered the resonance. The Council feels it. They'll never stop until you're captured. Or dead. Rhea clenched her fists. Then we fight, Serene smiled faintly. You will. But you need to understand the risk. If your bond grows stronger, it could consume you both. The energy feeds on emotion. Fear, anger, love, and it makes no difference. Kale stepped closer. What do we do? Serene gestured toward a small chamber filled with old machines. In the center floated a glowing crystal, pulsing faintly with blue light. This is what remains of Project Unity, she said. A memory core. Inside is everything, the data, the truth, the proof the Council buried. Rhea stared at it. Then that's what we need to expose them. Seren hesitated. If you take it, they'll come for you. You won't have a place left to hide. Rhea looked at Kyle. We don't hide anymore. Kyle nodded. Not since Eos Prime. Seren's expression softened. Then take it. And remember, your bond is your strength, but it's also your weapon. Use it wisely. Rhea reached out. Her hand touched the crystal. For a moment, the room went silent, then exploded with light. She saw flashes, memories that weren't hers. Humans and aliens working side by side. Laughter, love, fear, explosions, and then darkness. When she opened her eyes, she was on the floor. Kale was beside her, holding her hand. Blue sparks danced across their skin where they touched. Serene looked down at them with awe. It's begun, she whispered. The bond is complete. Before Rhea could ask what that meant, the base's alarms screamed. Kyle stood up fast. They found us! Seren's eyes widened. Go! Take the core and run! The walls shook as energy blasts hit the outer tunnels. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rhea grabbed the core and ran for the exit with Kyle beside her. Outside, the night sky burned red. Council ships were descending through the storm clouds. Rhea turned to Kale, her eyes fierce. No more running after this. Kyle nodded, his voice calm. Then let's end it. The two fugitives vanished into the storm, carrying the truth the Council tried to bury, a truth powerful enough to shatter the galaxy. The Starhawk tore through the black sky of Vernos, flames chasing its tail as it escaped the Council's fleet. Rhea's hands moved fast over the controls. The ship shook with every hit. Kyle stood behind her, one arm around the memory core, the other gripping the wall for balance. Shields at 30%. Rhea shouted. Kyle's voice was calm, steady, too steady. Set course for the outer rim. We can lose them in the nebula fields. Copy that, Rhea said, her jaw tight. Hold on. The ship dived into the glowing storm clouds that surrounded the planet. Lightning danced across the hull. Plasma fire followed them like a swarm of angry wasps. Finally, the scanners blinked clear. The red pursuit dots vanished. They were alone. Rhea exhaled. We lost them. For now. Kyle placed the glowing memory core on the console. Its blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. This thing, Rhea said quietly, it's worth the entire Council hunting us. Kyle nodded. Because it proves everything they fear. Hours passed. The Starhawk drifted through the dark. Rhea sat back in the pilot's chair, her eyes half closed. She thought about Earth, her family, her command, her old life. All gone now. Kyle studied the memory core, tracing symbols on its surface. It's reacting, he said softly. It can feel us, Rhea frowned. Machines don't feel. Kyle looked up at her, eyes bright. This isn't a machine, Rhea, it's alive. Before she could answer, the ship's alarm beeped. Incoming transmission. Rhea hesitated before opening it. A hologram flickered into the air, the face of High Chancellor Vokar. Commander Danner, his cold voice filled the cabin. You are charged with treason, theft of classified property, and corruption by alien influence. Rhea glared at the image. You call truth corruption now? Vokar's yellow eyes narrowed. You cannot win, human. The galaxy is already against you. Surrender and you may yet live. Kyle stepped forward. We will never surrender. The hologram flickered, showing Vokar's reptilian grin. Then die with your mistake. The transmission cut. Rhea slammed her hand against the console. He's sending more ships. Kyle's voice was quiet but firm. Then we go to Eos Station. Rhea looked at him sharply. That's suicide. It's a war zone. Exactly, Kyle said. The Council won't risk a full assault there. Rebels, traitors, exiles. No one follows the rules in that place. We'll be invisible. Rhea stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. Eos Station it is. The journey took 2 days. When the Starhawk dropped out of hyperspace, the view took Rhea's breath away. Eos Station was massive, a floating city of broken ships welded together, glowing with 1,000 lights. It hung near a dying star, surrounded by drifting wreckage and forgotten satellites. As they landed, the ship's sensors picked up hundreds of signals: smugglers, mercenaries, refugees. Rhea muttered, "Home, sweet chaos." They walked through crowded halls filled with every species imaginable. Music, shouting, and neon light filled the air. Kyle whispered, "Stay close." "Not everyone here likes humans," Rhea smirked. "That makes two of us." They found a quiet corner bar, the kind where secrets were traded like coins. Inside, a group of mixed aliens sat around a table watching a small holoscreen. News played across it. Rhea's face. "Wanted, Commander Rhea Dana, dangerous, reward 1,000,000 credits." The room went silent as everyone looked up at her. Rhea sighed. "Well, that didn't last long." Kyle's voice was low. "We need to leave, now." But before they could move, a deep voice spoke from the shadows. "You're late." Rhea turned fast, hand on her blaster. A tall figure stepped forward. Captain Dross, a human rebel leader she once knew from the wars. His face was scarred, his smile bitter. "I heard rumors," he said. "Didn't believe them until now." Rhea lowered her weapon slightly. "Dross, I thought you were dead," he chuckled. "Not yet. Word is you're the one with the proof that could break the council." Kyle stepped beside her. "We have it." "But they're coming." Dross leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Then let's give them something to fear." Hours later, in the hidden hangar beneath Eos Station, Rhea watched as Dross's crew prepared old warships. He turned to her. "Once we show the galaxy what that core holds, every world will rise." Rhea looked at the memory core glowing on the table. "If it works." Kyle placed his hand on hers. "It will." Suddenly the station shook. An alarm blared. "Council fleet inbound." Rhea's eyes widened. "How did they find us?" Dross cursed. "Doesn't matter. Get to your ship. Protect that core." Rhea and Kale sprinted toward the Starhawk as explosions rocked the station. Fighters screamed past the windows, laser fire lighting the halls. They reached the cockpit just as the docking clamps exploded. The Starhawk launched into open space, straight into a chaotic battle. Council warships surrounded the station. Rebels fought back with stolen guns and courage. The void burned with light. Rhea weaved through the chaos, dodging plasma fire. Kale manned the weapons, his eyes glowing blue as he fired. Each shot seemed to sync with his heartbeat, and hers. A strange energy pulsed through the ship again, stronger this time. Kyle gasped. "Rhea, it's the bond." "It's amplifying." The Starhawk's cannons glowed brighter than ever, and in one burst a massive wave of energy erupted, knocking enemy ships out of formation. Silence followed for one long second. Rhea whispered, "What was that?" Kyle looked at her, his voice almost in awe. "Us?" But before they could speak again, an energy beam hit the ship. Kale was thrown against the wall, the memory core falling from his hands. Rhea shouted, "Kale!" The ship spun out of control, alarms screaming. When Rhea looked up, she saw a massive council dreadnought ahead, and on its bridge, through the viewport, High Chancellor Vokar himself. His voice crackled through the comm. "Your bond ends today." "Commander!" The Starhawk was pulled into the dreadnought's tractor beam. Rhea tried to fight it, but the engines were dead. Kyle opened his eyes weakly. "Rhea, don't let them take the core." Rhea grabbed his hand, her voice shaking. "I won't lose you again." But the pull was too strong. The ship was dragged inside the dreadnought's hangar. The lights flickered. The sound of boots echoed outside. Rhea stood up slowly, blaster ready. The door opened. Council soldiers poured in. Kyle was too weak to move. Rhea tried to fight, but there were too many. They took the core. They took Kale. And then darkness. The Council's dreadnought hung like a shadow over the stars. Its massive hull reflected cold light, and every sensor blip screamed danger. Inside, Rhea Dana crouched behind a stack of crates, breathing hard. Her eyes scanned the hallways. Kale was somewhere ahead, chained and weakened, and the memory core, the proof of Project Unity, was locked inside a containment chamber, humming with dangerous energy. Rhea's heart pounded. This was it. Either they escaped, or everything ended. She moved silently through the corridor, every step measured. Council guards passed by, unaware of the fugitive human moving in the shadows. She reached a window overlooking the bridge. The High Chancellor Vokar stood there, tall, scaly, arms crossed. His yellow eyes scanned the galaxy like a predator. Rhea whispered, Time to end this. Kael's voice echoed in her mind. The bond between them had strengthened since Virnos. Even weak, he could communicate without speaking. Rhea, trust me. We can do this together. She nodded. The containment chamber was a few decks away. Rhea ran, avoiding patrols and dodging energy nets. Sparks flew as she used her blaster to disable security panels. When she reached the chamber, Kael was there, chained to the wall. His silver eyes brightened slightly when he saw her. Rhea, he whispered. We're getting out, she said firmly. Just hold on. The core pulsed on its pedestal, blue light washing the room. Rhea grabbed it and instantly she felt it, a wave of energy flowing through her. Her heartbeat synced with Kael's. Something inside them, their bond, was responding. Kael struggled and Rhea focused, placing her hands on his shoulders. Energy flowed between them. The chains holding him shattered with a loud clang. Rhea gasped. Kael, are you okay? He smiled weakly. Better now. Thanks to you. Outside alarms blared. Guards rushed in, but Rhea and Kael didn't wait. They activated the memory core. Energy radiated outward, filling the hallways. Guards screamed as walls cracked and lights flickered. Through the bond, Rhea felt Kael's emotions, fear, anger, hope, and added her own courage. The energy grew stronger, bright blue waves stretching through the ship. Rhea shouted, "We're not hiding anymore." The dreadnought shook violently. Windows shattered. Systems failed. The Council soldiers tried to fight, but the energy was unstoppable. On the bridge, Vokar roared. "Stop them! You fools, they are nothing!" But the energy reached him. He was thrown back, unable to control it. The Starhawk's comm blinked on. Dross and the rebel fleet were watching. "Commander Dana, you're doing it!" Dross exclaimed. Rhea's voice came through, calm but strong. "Kael and we're human and Vian, and no law can stop what we are together." The energy pulsed outward from the core, reaching every corner of the ship. Council systems failed. Alarms went silent, and then a blast of light projected across the galaxy through relay satellites. Every species watched in awe. Humans, aliens, and even the neutral worlds saw the power of connection, the truth the Council tried to hide. Vokar's authority crumbled. Ships withdrew. Soldiers froze, unsure of what they faced. Rhea and Kael stood together, energy still flowing from them. Kael smiled. "Rhea, it worked." Rhea looked around the room, her chest rising with relief and exhaustion. "We didn't just survive. We changed everything." They returned to the Starhawk. Outside, the galaxy felt different. The Council's grip was broken. Other humans and aliens began forming bonds openly. Everywhere, the idea of fear-giving control was collapsing. Kael took her hand. "You did this, Rhea. We did this." She squeezed his hand. "We built something they can't destroy. Together." The memory core floated beside them, pulsing gently. Saren's words echoed in Rhea's mind. "Your bond is your strength, but it's also your weapon." Rhea smiled at Kael. "It's more than that now. It's hope." On a nearby moon, the first liberated world of humans and aliens stood free. Rhea and Kael watched the sunrise together, silver and gold streaking across the sky. For the first time in years, Rhea felt peace. She looked at Kael and said softly, "They tried to forbid us, but they failed." Kael smiled, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "Because humans, we never obey fear. We build bridges, even across the stars." Rhea laughed softly, leaning against him. The galaxy was vast, full of danger, but also full of possibility. Together they were unstoppable. The stars stretched on forever. And for the first time, humanity and its allies truly shone.